Hi, this is Colette from Soul Life Loving, and I'm going to fidget and twizzle around because that's better. I'm just trying not to block myself out for light, that is, block myself out for light. So today, I'm going to fidget. I know I should have done this first, but I didn't think of that. So one of the things that have come up, notes. These are things that I write in the middle of the night with my eyes closed on the pad next to me. If they pop into my head on a waking moment, because I know that when that happens, I've been woken up to get that, and then I write it down because guaranteed I will forget about it. But about 2.5 years or more ago, in a meditation, because we have a spiritualist church, and I've never been. I've heard of it. It's the building is actually called the Brutalist building, and there's no windows in it. It's just concrete. Is it concrete or brick? I can't remember. But that's what it's called, the Brutalist building, and there's no windows in it. So I was a little bit curious, but it came through like it was so strong that I had to go to this spiritualist church. They have a mediumship, a training, a learning mediumship now, where you can go and practice your clairvoyance skills. And that's not really my strong point. If they want me to see it, I'll see it, but I can't just lock in on that. But then they said, oh God, but then they said, there are a lot of messages waiting for you there, and you have to go and get them. And I'm thinking, oh my God, I'm going to go to a class where clairvoyance is not my strong point. I feel like a fraud. I'm not actually there to learn, and I'm going to have to tell a lie. Because if I tell them the truth, she might throw me out and say, that's not what you're here for. If you want that, you have to come and pay for a reading. But it wasn't that kind of a thing for me. It was go in here. There's a lot of information coming from a lot of avenues, and you need to be there for all this information to come at you all at once, because then we've got to do a meditation. We've got to sort that out, because it's a hub where it generates a lot of psychic energy. So fine. So I went, and you pay to go in. I was sweating, I was shaky, and I had to say, I've come to see if I can improve my clairvoyance skills, which is a truth. So I thought, oh, that's okay, because I don't really like telling fibs to people in those circumstances, even though I'm sure if I'd have took her aside and said, my guide said I've got to be here because there's a lot of messages coming in, and it's a hub centre, and they're all going to come in at once, and then I've got to go and work on that. She would have understood. She absolutely would have understood, because she understood guides, and she's quite a powerful medium, and I could feel that off her. So I went, and you kind of rotate around people, and you do like 5 minutes, which sounds nothing, but when you sat there and you can't see a damn thing, 5 minutes is a heck of a long time. So I was a little bit stressed about it. But what happened when I did that one-to-one thing with another student was that they had so much information to give me that the 5-minute bell rang, and I hadn't done anything. And all I could say was, thank you so much for that, because this is what I came for. And in the next one, there was more information, and the people that were coming out, some of them were looking around me, or whispering in the other person's ear, will she give me permission to speak? And they said to me, he wants to know if he can have permission to speak. And I thought, oh my God, there's all these people that have abused me, that have passed. And this is a setup. This has been set up and generated. And all these students, never met them in my life before, were giving me the names of the people that had abused me. It was extremely bizarre. At one point, I had to write down, I've lost my voice. Because the muscles round here, because I didn't want to burst into a load of traumatic whatevers, I'd cramped in my larynx. They'd cramped all around it, and I couldn't speak, and I had to get the pad out and write that down, and that was all right. And I could feel that the medium woman eyes on me, because she knew something was going on. My ears were screaming. She must have known exactly that there was a pull of power, of energy towards me, to get these messages across. And I think I went round 7 people. 7 people had different messages. And when the session ended, there was one person left that I hadn't seen, because we ran out of time. And I had to go to the toilet. Because I needed a drink of water. I needed to rinse my mouth out and spit somewhere, because I was just drained. I was drained. I had to get the bus home. And so I was late leaving the building. And as I came out of the building, the girl that I hadn't spoken to and her 2 friends who I had were standing there, and she said, oh my God, I thought we'd missed you. I thought you'd gone. And I said, no, I had to go to the loo. I've got a message for you. And it was the last abuser. And the noise and the relief when this message hit me, I can't even remember who she named and what she said, but the end of it was, if you keep going on this path, you will clear yourself. And at the time I had no idea what she meant, but because that voice that came through was a channeled voice and I could feel the weight of it, I acknowledged it, and I gave her a hug, and I said, thank you so much. And I told her that I'd been sent here to pick up messages, and everybody that I'd met had a message. And she said, yes, and you didn't get to see me, and I was dying to give you this message. And I said thank you to all of them, because my gosh, that was awesome. It was awesome. I went back a second time. And I really didn't want to, but you know, you got to be brave to do this stuff. You've got to get up there and go and do it. And I went back again. I still no clairvoyance at all, but there were only 5 people there this time, and those 5 people had messages, and they were just trotting them out one after the other. And I was really, really grateful. And when the bell went, and I could still feel this woman looking at me, and I just, as I was going out, I just said, thank you for letting me be here. And I know that she knew what I meant. And then the time after that, I actually booked a reading, and they're just short. I think it was like £10 for 10 minutes, and the short readings with a medium. And I went in, and the girl that I saw just had this beam, And it was really lovely for her to say, gosh, I'm looking at your timeline and it's like that. And then she said, oh my goodness me, look at all those people that you've helped, and not everybody was grateful. And I nearly cried, but I was so happy to have myself acknowledged, because my output has always been dismissed as less than, and it hasn't been for me. I put a lot into a lot of people to help. I channeled things into people to help, and it took an enormous amount of energy out of me to do that. And I've always realised that my timeline was a bit like, good grief. And to actually see somebody draw that in the air in front of me and say those words, and then say, you're an artist, aren't you? I can see your paintings, they're full of light. And I said, yes. And she said, just keep making them. Just keep making them. They love it over here. They're the light that is in them is the light of love. Keep going. And it was at a time when I was really wobbly about my art, because I was putting it out, because I'm abstract, so I put out what I channel. And I was struggling to find somewhere to exhibit. I've got somewhere now, and it made me feel like I was less than. And the words, oh, you're an amateur artist, were coming through over something that I've spent decades and decades of my life creating domestically, just for me, just to make my homes look better. And for somebody to acknowledge that on the other side, and to see that, and to say to me, your energy is really beautiful. I've never had anybody come in like you. And that was just special. It was special because it made me feel seen. And I think that's what a lot of the spirit world has not been seen. And with the advent of technology and mainly YouTube, we are being seen. We are a collective force of love and good, and we are being seen. So yeah, that's it for today. Thank you so much for listening. It means such a lot to me.